Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Allie. If you're new here, I am an amateur photographer. I used to be a graphic designer and now I am just an enthusiast for film photography. On my channel I talk about film and the cameras that shoot it, and I just like to share my passion with other people who love film as well. So if you're new here, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button because I would love to have you in the community. And yeah, so let's get started. Today's video is going to be about the Leica M2. There's quite a few reviews out there about the Leica M2. Everybody knows there's a community around the Leica brand that are very, very loyal to the brand, and I get it. I mean, look at this thing. I think the Leica M2 is a work of art. It's beautiful, and I completely understand why there is such a strong, loyal following behind this brand and behind these cameras. I will talk about the camera itself, the specs, so if you are here to decide whether you would like to buy a Leica M2, there will be that info in there for you too as well. But also just for entertainment purposes and just for you all who are loyal to the channel and have been here for a while and getting to know me, I wanted to share some personal things about why this camera is special to me and why I want it to be passed down to my daughter, and I hope it will continue to be a family heirloom. So I am hugely invested in just passing on my family's legacy. I mean, it's not like I am related to the Astors or something, but I want my family's memory to go on. I want my kids to know who my great-great-grandfather was, and I want that to matter to them. So at a young age, I think I was 12 years old, once the internet started and once Ancestry.com came in, I have been building my family tree since then. For most of my life, I have been putting together my family's tree. I have gone through Latin documents for my family that came over from Sicily. I mean, it means a lot to me. And whenever a family member passed, I have always kept some of their items. That's just always been part of my grieving process. I don't know if you guys are like that. Let me know in the comments if that's something you also do for comfort, but I've always kept items from people who have passed, and I think that comes from losing my father at such a young age. I was only 11 years old when he passed, and I immediately just wanted anything he used in his life, clothes he wore, just anything, and especially cameras he used. Though I was very, very disappointed to find that before he passed away he had sold his cameras. I never got to own them myself. I would love to have them now, and now that it's been, I don't know, 30 years, I think, something like that, I just don't even remember what they were. I knew I remembered them at one time. I bought my Canon TX because it reminded me of one of his cameras, and then I bought the Canon EOS Rebel G because it reminded me of his other cameras. So I know at some point in my life I knew what camera he shot, but they're gone. They've been gone for a long time, and I have no photos of him with those cameras. So that has always bothered me. And in more recent time, with this past couple years, when I had this really bad flare-up with my Crohn's disease and I was in the hospital and really fighting for my life at that point, I realized that over the years I've really focused on preserving other people's memories for so long, and now that I'm a mother, that's kind of changed. I kind of realized I also need to be preserving my own memory for my kids, and that's not something I ever thought that I would need to do, I guess. I don't think I ever thought I was important enough to save those memories, or to, I guess I didn't think anybody would care. But now that I'm a mother, I want to make sure that my daughter has something of mine to take when I'm gone. I think as photographers, we tend to not be in the picture ourselves, so to speak, physically and metaphorically. I'm always the one taking the pictures. So that's why this time around, during this flare-up, it just hit me different, because this time I'm a mother. Go back again. So let's go back to 2022.
We're pregnant. We're pregnant.
My wife and I decided to, actually at the time we weren't married, but we decided that we wanted to have a baby. I know during the pandemic, crazy I know, you're probably thinking, what were we thinking? Well, we were thinking life is short. So we started our TTC journey. If you're not familiar, TTC is just trying to conceive. And I decided that the Leica M2 would be the camera that I was going to use primarily, not fully, but primarily to record the steps we were taking and the birth and all of that once we actually had Elena and most of her life. Part of the reason I chose that was because there's just something about the Leica brand that just screams legacy to me. I think that Leica definitely takes note of their legacy and their brand, and they want their products to last long for that legacy. And you feel it in their products. I don't want to talk like some kind of Leica fangirl. That's not what I am. This isn't going to become a Leica channel. So let's talk a little bit about the Leica M2. Not unlike me, the Leica M2 is the younger sister of a much more popular and hyped up model, the M3. Born in 1957, it was to be the more affordable, consumer-friendly version of the M3. They were going to trim down basically the sparkle of the M3. And in doing so, I believe Leitz created a piece of art. So he reduced the magnification of the rangefinder so that you could now accommodate 35mm lenses, along with the 50 and the 90. That to me is the trio that does it all. That is one of the reasons I chose the M2 over the M3, was because I primarily shoot a 35mm focal length. The frame counter does need to be manually reset, and honestly this is something that I do tend to forget to do, and it can be a little bit of a pain if you notice it, but honestly I have not really noticed it, and to be honest I also rarely ever reset it, so it's not really that big of an issue. But it has shutter speeds that go from bulb all the way up to 1/1000th of a second. And for times that I need a meter and can't do Sunny 16, I use my Leica meter. I don't know which model this is. I think it's the Leica meter MC. And it just attaches right on to the top and connects to the shutter speed dial so that it integrates and works fully with the Leica M2. It's pretty cool. And surprisingly, even though this is, I want to say CDS cells, I'm not sure if that's true, somebody correct me, but they haven't burnt out. I make my own judgment call with it because it is from far away. You're not like through the lens metering, but it works pretty good. So I would check that out if you do need a meter on one of these cameras. The other thing that some people view as a downside to the Leica M2 over other models is the film rewind mechanism. I think there's different variants of the M2 where you can buy one that doesn't do this. I think they upgraded it in a later variant. I didn't know that when I purchased this one, but I have the push button variant. It's kind of annoying for somebody like me with arthritis in my hands, so I have to hold that button down while I'm turning this, and it can be annoying. It can be time consuming to do it this way, so some people do figure that as a downside to the Leica M2. But I think all of these type of manual rituals, having to use a meter or use your Sunny 16, or having to reset the frame counter, having to really put some time into rewinding the film, all of these hands-on rituals, I think kind of bonded me to the camera, because I did have to put more work into it. I did have to pay more attention to the camera itself. And I think it just made me bond more with it, if that makes sense. I think the more work you have to put into a relationship, the more special it becomes. So I don't think it's any different with your cameras as well. Anything you're going to put more work into, you're going to appreciate so much more in the end. And especially every time I loaded a new roll of film into this camera during our TTC journey to record my wife's pregnancy every step of the way, and with each click of the shutter marked another special moment being recorded of our life that I'm so grateful and glad that I took the time to do, and to do with a camera that will now have that attached to it, because now I can tell my daughter that this recorded her and recorded our journey to making her, and it makes it all the more special, I think. And also, can we just take a moment to appreciate the sound of that click? I don't know what it is. I just love the sound of that. Woof. And the advanced lever is so smooth. It's not a double stroke. I'm not sure which model does the double stroke. Again, you more Leica boys can tell me in the comments which model is the double stroke. I know some people prefer that, but I like this one. So the smooth advance and the sound of the shutter are part of an overall experience, and that experience is what has shaped my love for photography and overall for cameras in my collection. For me, the reason I have so many cameras, the reason that my channel is called Allie's Vintage Camera Alley. My wife came up with that name. Each camera has a different experience based on the way it's made, its ergonomics, the way it looks. That gives me inspiration to want to pick up my camera and take pictures. And anything that's going to make me want to do that, to me, is worth it. And speaking of picking up the camera, the ergonomics of the Leica M2 for me is very comfortable. I think everything is perfectly placed. You hold it, you know, you got the shutter button, the advance right there with one hand. I can change the shutter. I can change the shutter speed with the same hand that I'm advancing and pressing the button with. And I can hold and I can focus using the other hand. So I think it's perfectly set out, perfectly spaced for me, for my hands. Sometimes, like I said, I mentioned before, I do have arthritis in my hands and I can be in pain. So I do have a grip that was made, designed and made by my good friend Wayne. He's the same guy who makes my Nikon F grips that everybody's always asking me about. I think he had to discontinue them because of tariffs now, but if you want to pick up one of his grips for your Leica, I'll put a link down below to his eBay. But yeah, sometimes I put this on the camera and it helps me to be a little more comfortable gripping the camera when my hands are like that. I don't want to risk dropping the camera. And of course I have a neck strap too as well from Clever Supply. The Leica M2 can be a little bit more heavy than other models. I know it is heavier than my Leica M6, but it just feels substantial. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful mechanical camera and you can feel that when you're holding it. You can feel the quality. Even though it is the less sparkly version of the Leica M3, I think that it is still not a cheap camera by any means. It's still pretty expensive and it's still really great quality. And the viewfinder is big and bright. Even wearing my glasses, I can see perfectly well. I can see the 35mm frame lines even with my glasses on because it's big and bright. And even though some of these things may be considered flaws of the camera, like the rewind and the frame counter and all that, to me, like a loved family member, you look past the flaws because the good outweighs the bad. At least for me, the good definitely outweighs the bad. So the Leica M2 has 3 frame lines, like I mentioned before, the 35, the 50, and the 90. But I mainly shoot 35 and 50, so it's perfect for me. It doesn't have a quick loader, so for some film loading can be a pain. But I do have a video demonstrating how I load film into this camera, and it's never really slowed me down. To me, it's not that big of a deal, especially after experiencing the Leica 3F. If you want to go check that video out and hear my experience on that camera, this is nothing compared to that. So the Leica M2 was my first Leica that I've ever purchased for the reasons that I mentioned, for price, for availability, for 35mm frame lines. My variant is from 1958, and this almost 70-year-old camera became special to me as soon as I saw the results that I was getting with it. I think that's what matters the most in the end, is what kind of pictures can you get with the lens and the camera. And that was why I chose it ultimately, to record the most special moments of my life, because I knew I would get really good results that I could rely on and that I would love in the end. And that is also why it's now the main recorder of my daughter's life now that she's here. And I hope with the right care of this mechanical camera that it will still be working by the time she's old enough to learn film photography, and I hope that will be something that she will also want to do. If not, I hope she keeps it still and passes it down to her children eventually and tells the story with it. So what about you? Do you have a camera that means something special to you that you would never part with, that you want to give to your children or pass down one day? Let me know in the comments. I always love talking to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make it a little more personal. I wanted to do something different and not just do a straight cold review, because there are so many reviews out there of these cameras. And I want to really talk to you guys and have a connection with you guys. That was the entire point of me making this channel, was to create a community around my work and around the cameras and my love for cameras. And I wanted to make it a goal this year to remember that point and my why. So if you liked this video, please, I hope you hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe. Take the time to do so. It means a lot. And if you would like to support the channel even further, I have links down in the description of how you can do so. You can donate. You can buy my zines. You can buy one of my zines. That helps the channel. Anything I ever make from this channel goes into a separate account that then pays for this channel. Anything I have to do for this channel. So if you can help, it means a lot. And of course, as I've always said, until next time, stay motivated and keep shooting film.